I mean, we could just set like the wanted penetration offset and move it towards that value. Yeah, we can do a few things here. I think it's going to have to be like if the penetration offset, like if we have a wanted one, it'll, lerp towards what it should be. And this will kind of smooth it out. And then what we can do otherwise is if the penetration offset's already 0, then we can just set it inside of the sweep. And what that'll do is it'll make it so we run into walls nicely, but if we like jump up and down on the wall, it's gonna not do a whole heck of a lot for it. It's not gonna move the camera too much. But if it was already 0, it would snap the camera, which, yeah, I guess there's no winning there. I mean, this is just off now. Basically the penetration offset should be if last frame we weren't penetrating the object, then we could set it. Otherwise, we'd have to do this smoothing stuff. How come everything is always difficult? Well, it looks like it just needs to be a lot faster. Because what's happening there is the direction change is overriding the speed for the correction. Well, I'm trying to think. Basically, hmm. Basically, if our camera is moving to the right and our offset wants to move it to the left, well, the two situations are where, like, we've got our camera is over here and our character falls down here, and we collide here, so we need to move the camera smoothly because we don't want to just clip it because it just thunks into position. That's bad. So it's basically like the camera, it's how it was moving, because if we ran like this and this thing was over here, it can start, we could just go ahead and, you know, apply 100% of that without clipping. And what does that have to do with? That has to do with the speed of the camera this frame. So if the speed of the camera this frame moved it so that it was clipping, so if we have this vector here and this vector here, then we can subtract that vector for free. So it's like the original camera position minus the current position. So that's how much the camera moved in this frame. So we can take the Y value for that. So it's going to be if the f-math, the sine of the camera motion Y equals what the f-math sine of the correction vector y. Then we can add the offset decrease is plus equals the fmath absolute value of the camera motion. I mean, it's more of the, I think it's the opposite. Yeah, let's see what that does. So it's like if the camera is moving in the opposite direction of the correction vector, then we can add the camera motion in there because it's good. Because it's basically we're negating from the camera motion. Let's pronounce some of these variables. And this is a negation of the vector. Well, it's in the direction of us wanting to. Should. I need more music. This music is beginning to piss me off. So I think that's actually this thing working properly. Like we run into the wall here and then we can jump over the wall and keep going. And when there's an actual wall, it just runs right into it. So let's see how it is on like a platforming section like this. So it's more of that is not working out too well right there. Well, why is the camera motion so gigantic? Like camera motion y should be the original camera position minus the current camera position. Because it's adding in the offset. Yeah, we'll see. I'll I'll probably have to take a shot at it. Really, like, YouTube is stupid about all its content stuff. Like, you can pretty much guarantee that most anything you post there gets content flagged for some damn reason. It's absolutely insane. And I'd rather not have other people monetizing my videos, right? Like that's just so dumb. It'd be like, I want to turn off monetization so there's no commercials or whatever, but it's like other people just making money off of whatever. Not that I'm making all the money off the YouTubes, or anybody would be making money off of me, but it's just stupid. So basically, we're trying to get the camera motion in there properly, and just messing around with numbers pretty much. I think that's more what I want. Yeah, that looks really cool. Like, it's nicely framing it so this tower climb is a lot easier to see what's going on, so I don't have to look over into nowhere land over there. I'd like there to be something. Now, is there an issue going on with this? That jump there. Is there something? And this is a chunk of terrain, isn't it? Yeah, it's a chunk of terrain. Yeah, it looks like we got some issues with head butting up into walls improperly. But I think the camera stuff is situated. It's looking a lot cooler than it was. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to do calculate camera collision, camera penetration offset. So we need delta T, we need camera motion, and I guess the current position. So it's going to be void a player proxy actor, calculate camera penetration offset. We're going to take a float delta T, we're going to take a const f vector reference camera motion, and we're going to take a f vector reference current position. This will be called to calculate the camera penetration offset. Alright, so let's go ahead and declare this method. So that should solve that issue. And we're going to want this velocity here to be inside of this. So it's going to be the penetration, camera penetration correction speed. So let's go ahead and set that up. Penetration. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that should nicely chunk that off into something we can use. So let's compile it out and make sure it works. Excellent. Alright, let's just verify that it is still working the same way that we thought it would. Hooray! Alright, so what else have we got going on? So that's done. So camera collision's looking good. We could do looking up and looking down. And what is this? Is this like... Oh, I hit G, so like it's showing all the collision, which I don't need. Why don't we run over to a different level? Like, why don't we run over to the Beautiful Corner level real quick and see what it looks like running around some of the stuff that Adam put together. Collision presets. Yeah, we'd have to like check this out and do terrain and stuff like that. So we can go ahead and do that. So let's see, we have all of these things. What are we actually running on? Are we running on top of this grass? Or do we have like hidden stuff? I have absolutely no idea what the hell is done with all these things. I guess it's all these cubes. If we just set all of them to terrain, maybe we can actually play around with it. Actually, it looks pretty bad dealing with some of that. So I guess the thing would be we'd want a lot of things to be not terrain but environment. Or I could redo that, have all these blocks. Maybe we shouldn't be using the Y value for the player, for the raycast, and maybe we should be using the camera value for that. Let's see, what is the actual player proxy? God, this thing is all disorganized. So we're using the Bitey Perspective player, which is using the Bitey Perspective camera, which is the one that we have right now. Camera follow, camera zoom, camera velocity lead, vertical allowance, follow type. So the question would be, should we base it off the ground for the player or base it off of the other? So trace start, we could have the followed position. So we could actually do like trace start dot y. This would be dot z equals what, the camera, the current position dot z. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, the other thing we could do is we could try different types of raycasts, like if we raycast at an angle or whatever else. So I guess maybe I should just have a height for the trace. Alright, so we need to set this to something reasonable. I think like maybe 200 is reasonable. We'll see if running along that ground there works at all. The other thing that we could do is do multiple casts or something like that. Though I think it's going to be more of, we probably want the ground there to not be terrain but be environment, and have terrain be like a specific thing of like, no, the camera's not going to go into this and see stuff and all that. The rest is environment. Because you'd have like a piece of terrain under all that stuff that you'd build your track on top of, I would guess. Like he's got this. It's like he's got some absolutely ridiculous thing on his head that he's using to see what's in front of him. Alright, let's put up that other level and see what it looks like. Yeah, it's definitely will be. It's nice to have the option to set things as like terrain. Versus environment, and the terrain will have, you know, the different behavior here where it actually stops you. Another thing is we could have a separate camera, which is actually doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we're going to want to do is set all of these things, all these cubes, set them all to environment. Environment body, and set these things to terrain. And that should be pretty cool. So let's build it. Let's build that lighting. Awesome. So I think we're good to go with that level and with that part of the camera. So what else could we work on for camera stuff? We can get looking up and looking down is the other thing that we can do. And that's just going to be an additional offset height thing that we can apply. So why don't we just make that real quick. So looking up